Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is another Wednesday and another episode of BSP Leadership Podcast. All of you who have been familiar with me earlier are probably used to a podcast, and you just saw that very quick video showing you glimpses of what we used to call BSP Live. We did more than 40 episodes of that. But then there was a huge gap, and now we have restructured the whole thing, and we now do something which we have started just about 2 months ago, and that is called the BSP Leadership Podcast. Today, what you're seeing is going to be the fourth episode in the series. And today we have a very, very interesting subject. And the subject is the great leadership development robbery. It's not the money robbery, there's something else coming up. Why millions invested fail to create leaders? That is the question that we are going to be addressing today. So hold your breath and let me tell you what is going to happen. Now, you have seen that in this industry, everyone has recognized the importance of leadership. This McKinsey report, which is a little outdated, but still we don't have any fresh statistics, everyone in the corporate world has accepted the fact that we need to have leadership development at all levels. And despite all that, it is surprising and ironical that less than 5% of companies have implemented leadership development across all levels. Generally, like what you see is people say that leaders across the world generally are not delivering up to the standard that they are expected to. So, that is the main challenge we are going to be talking about today. And to address this issue and understand why is this happening, why is it that organizations spend so much on leadership development and yet struggle to produce good leaders and don't have a leadership pipeline. So, to explore these questions and many more, I'm delighted to welcome an award winning executive coach, leadership strategist, and a transformational leader. Oh, just a minute. Sorry. Transformational leader, Dr. Pramod Sadarjoshi. What happened? Welcome, Pramod, to this evening's episode. I'm so delighted that you're here. So now we'll just
Sure.
introduce Pramod to you and tell you that he's a transformation leader with over 3 decades of experience across global organizations. A former HR leader with organizations such as Oracle, Microsoft, JP Morgan Chase, Cognizant, HDFC Bank, IDBI Bank, KPMG, and Citibank, he has worked at the intersection of leadership, strategy, culture, and organizational transformation. Besides all that, his biggest quality or his biggest credential is that he is a great friend of mine. I spotted him in a TIS program where I saw him on the stage and I fell in love with him. And ever since then, I've been following him. He is somebody I like to emulate. He is somebody I love to copy. And I had to get this friend of mine because I wouldn't find anyone better than him to talk on the subject that we are talking about. He's also now currently the founder and CEO of his own company called Talent Smith Consulting, a managing partner of Cornerstone International Group, and a recognized thought leader in leadership development and executive coaching. Ranked among the top 10 executive coaches in India in 2024, Dr. Pramod has coached more than 25 CEOs and over 150 CXOs across industries and geographics. The figures could have increased because he is normally doing these programs on a daily basis, and this could be just an approximate figure. His work focuses on helping organizations build leadership, capability, transformation, and create sustainable business impact. Welcome, Pramod, to today's episode. It is a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Brigadier Sushil Bhasin. It's an honor to be on this podcast because you've been spearheading phenomenal thought leadership through your podcasts. So, looking forward to also the other reason is it's a sizzling topic, very close to my heart and also close to a lot of HR and L&D heads. So, let's go for it.
So, as I was talking about this McKinsey report, Pramod,
Yes,
organizations are investing much more than ever before in leadership development.
true.
And leadership is also developing at a pace faster than ever before.
Yep,
And then, with all the challenges, with the requirement of leadership, the irony also is that leaders are in short supply.
true.
So we now today need to examine, why does this paradox exist? Do we really have a leadership crisis, or are we simply expecting too much from leadership development initiatives? What are some of the trends you are seeing in the organization? Why do so many young professionals feel that leadership development is not reaching them? What concerns you most about the current state of leadership development? So, all these questions are going to be covered in
Sure.
some developmental areas. And let's first address this first one, that what trends are we seeing and why is this happening? Over to you.
Great. Terrific opening. And it just triggers a fantastic data which I was just going through. The global market size for training, hold your breath, is a staggering $352 billion. A similar figure for the coaching industry, both business and leadership coaching, is about $116 billion. What the heck is going on with such big amounts budgeted by the CFOs and the CEOs? Why then is there a delta between activity and impact? That's something which really, really needs to be taken on head on. Number one reason, are there, and I'm just raising that, I'm not making a blanket statement. Are there conflicting and competing priorities between the CHRO, the L&D, and the CXO and the CFO? Number two, once the candidate takes the training, comes back, is the environment conducive enough for him to apply those trainings? Otherwise, you're back to the grind. It's the same old toxic atmosphere. He had a great 3 days at Goa, Mauritius, or at Bali, but then he comes back and to find that there is no environment to really substantiate and support the training inputs. Number three, there's a wonderful law called Goodhart's Law, Brigadier Bhasin. It's by a famous economist called Charles Goodhart. And he says when the metric becomes a target, then it's a very bad metric, which means if the entire chase is only to ensure the budget is exhausted and not really have a sustained intervention of leadership and training programs, then it's a boondoggle, as I say in American English. It's a great holiday at Singapore or any fancy resorts, and then they come back and it's back to the grind. Number
Pramod,
five,
just one
yes,
minute. I'll just interject here because
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
tell you that this is very important what you said, and I need to
Mhm.
emphasize
Sure.
a little more.
Yep.
Uh, in my 21 years that I have been in the corporate world after having stepped out of the army, I
Okay.
find that this one thing that you said is a most important concern. Most training interventions that I have, when I uh, know, with due respect to all my wonderful HR
Sure.
and NLP friends, when talk, when a query comes and I'm having a conversation with a L&D manager, maybe a young boy or a girl, 25, 26, and they tell me what is to be done, I put up a little request to say, can I speak to your boss, to your
Absolutely. Yes.
CEO, to the MD? So, but he's very busy, he's traveling, blah, 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 whatever. And many
Sure.
times you would never be able to get to meet him. And what this person is conveying may be just a fraction of the actual problem that exists in that company, right? And now, the best part is if I just go to you a little story, I won't name the company, but this head office is in one location in South Bombay where these people sit, and the training is to be done of one of their business units, which is in Navi Mumbai. I did that training with all my might. I did a lot of research, I did everything, and it was an outbound training of 2 days. And when the training was over, and I rang up this girl and I said, how was the training? And her answer was, sir, we do 5 trainings a day or whatever, some statistics, and I have no time to find out how it was. Anyway, now that you have said, I'll find out and let you know. When I rang her up after 2 weeks, she was a little arrogant, maybe a little insulting, to say, do you think I have nothing else to do but to find out how the training was? It was a straight case of a tick in the box कि मैंने अपना training कर दिया भाई. I am being paid for what? To do X number of trainings in a year or to exhaust X amount of budget in a year. And this carried on till I got to something which I did as a trainer, and many trainers would probably like to take a cue from it, and they may already be doing it, but some who are not. Then I got a form filled up, and I would say, please fill up this form. And a little later, when I established a little more authority and credibility, I said, I am not going ahead with this program till I get a meeting with the business, with the stakeholder, whoever is the boss of the 20, 30, 40 people who are coming for training. I need to know what they want, not for the what for the HR has got a little script with. So what you said, I just wanted to emphasize that this, to my mind, because we discussed this, there's a very good friend of mine called Preba who introduced me to this subject a long time back. He's in Malaysia, and he did a 2 hours workshop in Malaysia in 2024, and a lot of these things were discussed. But I found this to be pivoting around the main thing, along with something else which I'm sure you'll follow. Otherwise, we'll discuss later. But unless the boss, all my good trainings are where the boss was involved in a conversation. I understood their mind. I knew what they exactly wanted. And then once you have a focus on what is the desired outcome, then a trainer can design a program properly. So that is
Right.
what I just wanted to add. I'm sorry I took a little time, but this is something which is deep in my heart.
Sure. Sure. And I was just about to share the next point, which is pretty much correlating with this. I don't know what was Albert Einstein doing in the domain of L&D, but what he said is phenomenal truth. Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful. It really shows the tick box is counting, but it doesn't count. What counts is a behavioral transformation post the leadership program, not just in the left brain, but also in the right brain centricity. Therefore, bringing together what I would call a cosmic intelligence, if you will, so that the individual is really manifesting all his learnings, which doesn't happen. And I was about to say the next point, which is, the bosses should move from the controlling, dictating to coaching and guiding. All right. And most important, look, let's be very clear, reward and respect are super critical. And rewards are not just a pat on the back or a great comment, it has to manifest into an increment or a bonus post the training application. Now, if there are no requisite reward systems which are empirical in nature, they will all be very theoretical programs without it finding its visibility in the person's growth, even financially. It's super critical. In fact, I would believe a financial reward is a great form of respect for the individual that is valued and is wanted in the company. In the absence of these 5 6 parameters, there's a whole lot of training calendar, whole lot of training budget, whole lot of training needs analysis. Even trainings are conducted, but when rubber hits the road, lo behold, there is no impact, and therefore it becomes a routine motion to go through. That would be my initial spiel towards your question about why the heck isn't the bank for the buck manifesto.
Thank you very much, Pramod. That was excellent, and I think you nailed it so well. And I particularly love this quote by Albert Einstein. Uh,
Yes,
I would like everyone to take a screenshot, and can we have that quote once again on the screen? And while before we go further, I would like to have a little word with the audience, guys.
sure.
This little hour that we are going to spend here or invest here actually will get us high returns for that investment if you all participate. And your
Absolutely.
participation here is only by writing down comments. So at the moment, I don't even come to know who is there and who's not there, because only when you comment, your presence gets to be known. So even if you just say hi or good evening, do that so that we know who all are there. Number one. And number two, please keep commenting and asking your questions so that we can answer your questions. We may do it in pauses where we take a pause, but it will not be very, very often. But your questions should keep coming and we will have them answered before we leave. So that's a promise. So let's see those questions coming up. And wherever you find these quotes coming up so beautifully, I suggest take a screenshot. So, Pramod, coming to the second part, and the second part is that you know that I explained to you that I took the title from something that has been hurting me for the last 3 years, and that is that the Harvard Business Review paper. It is a beautiful paper called
I read that.
the Great
Yes,
Training Robbery. And we are
right.
talking, why is it relevant here? We are talking of leadership development or leadership training. And in the overall context of training, it says that out of all the millions that are spent on training in the world, there's only a minor 2 to 5% that really gets converted into transformation. So the rest of it is a waste. And our first two discussions or two topics of discussion are based around this. One is the McKinsey's report, which says that leadership is not being delivered. And the second one
Then
is
the Harvard,
there is
Harvard.
a robbery, right? So, what struck you most when we first encountered that idea? And what do organizations invest heavily and still fail to get the desired outcomes? That's what I want to ask you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's this the famous quote by Mark Twain. I've never let my schooling interfere with my education. I repeat, I never let my schooling interfere with my education. Why am I quoting this here? You've done those training, but if there is no supporting ecosystem, for instance, you've just come back from AMP program at Harvard or at a 3-day MDP program at an IIM Ahmedabad or an Indian School of Business, both where I'm associated with. And then you come back and you have a very insecure boss, Brigadier Sushil. Some hope in hell he will allow you to manifest that. And what is absolutely pathetic is this funding is done by the organization, and the immediate boss has no respect for that investment mindset of the organization towards this individual. In fact, you'll recall many years back, maybe it still is on, in a reputed company called GE, there was always a mandate for every boss to keep ready 2 people under him who could take over from him should an opportunity arise. Wow, wow, what a developmental mindset. So the moment, and I'm very clear, the environment is what? End of the day, the environment is the boss and the leader who's actually spearheading that function. And if that person doesn't have an abundant mindset, if that doesn't person doesn't have an investment mindset and feeling very secure and comfortable that if I develop and nurture my subordinates, I will go into bigger opportunity. And there have been a lot of times or cases when the person has been found wanting and developed into subordinates, he's actually been put on notice saying that you've been too self-centered or insecure. Now, unless there is a correctional mechanism in an organization through a 360 degree, through a 180 degree, through a Hogan's test, through an MBTI, through a DISC, if it's not getting evaluated and the data is not coming up, too bad. And remember, Sushil, I always believe data as in numbers, numbers give credibility and character to a concept or a conviction. I repeat, quantitative quantification or dimensionalization of a number, of a concept, it gives credibility and character. Otherwise, oh, how is Pramod? Oh, he's good, bad, average. It's neither here nor there. But on a scale, how does he match up? A, B. And Sushil, this is very important. How many companies really put up measured and articulated competencies for the next position higher up? You see, in most cases, a guy gets quote unquote bumped up to the next position, then he learns on the job, which is not bad. But how many companies, maybe a Unilever, maybe a Procter and Gamble, maybe a Microsoft, maybe a McKinsey, there's a very proactive thinking about developing the bench strength of next leadership. Should there be attrition? Should there be resignations or voluntary retirement? Where is the talent pipeline and the throughput happening? And therefore, the training design and the L&D head has to be so in sync with the business manager. I call it strategic alignment between L&D and business, so that learning and development and coaching becomes a multiplier to a business strategic objective than a tick in the box activity or a boondoggle at a fancy place. Now, it requires both to participate in it. There has to be equally a high degree of eagerness to learn on behalf of the people who are aspirational, and there has to be systemic processes which nurtures to the aspirations of such phenomenally ambitious and talented people. In the absence of either or, it is beginning of the end.
Wonderful. I salute you for that. This is so much, absolutely bang on, Pramod, what you said. And again, I can't help it. I'm tempted to tell you another story here. I have a very good friend who used to come to our camp for training other companies, but I
Okay,
really fell in love with him and I started learning a lot. And when I had to first do a senior leaders training, and I didn't know whether I'll be able to do it or not because that was the first time I'm going to deal with very senior leadership. So I hired
okay,
him and he became the facilitator and I acted as co-facilitator. And that is a time when I sort of got my confidence that yes, I can take on senior leadership as well. This was way back, I'm
right,
talking about 2007.
okay,
This gentleman is called Mark Sen. And Mark Sen
okay,
once told us a story which is very pertinent to reinforce what you just said. He
all
said
right,
that he was for about 20 years in various departments, including operations, HR, and all that. And when he was in marketing and sales for a couple of years. And he says that one day I went to my boss and I asked him, I said, "Sir, are you not happy with my work?" And he said, "Of course, we are very happy with your work." He said, "Sir, for 3 years I was expecting some promotion to come, nothing has happened." So he says, "Yes, Mark, actually, you deserve a promotion for sure. But there are some policies, it takes time, there are some protocols, there are other people in the channel, all that." So the matter finished. After about
okay,
a week, boss called him again and he says,
mm-hmm.
"Mark, I was talking to the CEO and he was a little upset about you getting a feeling that we don't like your work. Of course, we like your work," he said. "And we are very,
Sure,
very appreciative of the excellent job that you're doing." So, what he
sure,
did is he said the promotion may take a little time because of procedural problems, but he has got a gift for you.
oh, okay,
Your wife is a teacher, and your children are studying in the same school where your wife is teaching. And we know that the next 1 month is going to be a holiday. This is ideal
okay,
time for you to take your wife and children for a holiday. So then he handed over a gift, which was a huge envelope. And he says, "Here are your air tickets for the four of you. and booking of 1 week resort in Goa, all paid for, and 10,000 rupees in cash for you to spend. That is what we want to give you as a gift to tell you that you're doing a great job. He said, Sir, thank you very much. I'm so overwhelmed with this gesture. But the problem is, I can't go. He said, Why? He said, So you know there's a product launch coming up. How can I go?
Got it.
He said, Then if I was to promote you, then what would happen to the product launch? Who would do it? There's nobody in your absence who can do the product launch. And there
Sure.
was silence. He says, Would you like to open this
There you
envelope?
go. Absolutely.
Would you like to open this envelope? And the envelope had only blank A4 size papers folded there. He says, The CEO wanted to tell you that please come to us for promotion when you say that I have got somebody trained to replace me.
Beautiful
Every
example.
leader,
Wonderful.
every leader must have leaders created. And you are going to get replaced by a leader. You move up when somebody from below has also moved up in your situation, and it is your responsibility to prepare them. And now, another aspect I want to add here is about the army. In the
Can I
army,
just make one point, Brigadier, at this point, because
yeah,
you
sure.
really touched upon. Always make sure in organization the delta between you and your immediate should not be too large. A, if he goes away, you start doing lower level job. B, if you want to move away for an opportunity, the other guy is going to have a very steep learning curve. And steep learning curve means more time, more money, and maybe less competence. So therefore, make sure a good conscious leader goes out of his way to ensure his A team, the delta is very less. They're almost together. And that's what is the genesis behind succession planning. It's not just hollow words, it's actually a deep science based on performance potential gap analysis. So, an astute, a conscientious, and an alert leader knows should an opportunity come up. He should not be found wanting a subordinate who will take over from him, because the risk is he may not be given that opportunity. Because, as you rightly brought out in an example, the boss says if there's nobody to take over from you, see, it's ironical. I want to actually tell or make a point here. A good training and leadership uh, process or a doctrine means, can you make yourself redundant? Oh my God, you say, Pramod, you're saying something very contrarian.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. The day you
Actually,
make
I
yourself
have used that
redundant,
word.
you're available. Beautiful. There
I
you
think
go.
we may have learnt this from somebody common. I've used this word that how soon can you make yourself redundant? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's the exact
You know,
word. Pramod,
yeah.
again, brilliant, brilliant what you have said, and you
Thank
explained
you.
it so beautifully. And what I was going to be adding to that is that in the army we have a system of a second in command,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
It
Oh,
is
yeah.
there. It is there from a langar commander, that means a sepoy level, to the chief of the
Wow.
army staff. Till the chief of, there's nobody who doesn't have a 2IC, right? Now, I'll tell you something which is unique, and a lot of people may have never known of this. A second in command, it's written down in his, we don't have a job description, but something equivalent of a job description says that you will at all times be ready to take over the duties of your leader whenever the situation arises in peace or war. Your boss
True.
could be hospitalized, your boss could be dead, your boss could be going on a wedding or a holiday. You have to step up in his position at any given time with zero notice. Zero notice.
Yeah.
So, the leadership lessons in the army say that you should not be doing anything official which your 2IC doesn't know. That means he has to be in picture every day.
Right.
And that is
Right.
why we have drills, whether you are in an exercise or in war or in peace, that every day there's a morning and an evening parade, and we call it morning prayers and evening prayers. where the CEO and the 2IC and the top few company commanders or whatever, it depends,
Yeah,
will have a little power on what we did today and what we are going to be
sure,
doing tomorrow.
sure.
It's a daily thing.
Isn't
Second
there a
thing,
saying in army that the more you sweat in peace, the less you toil in war?
yeah, yeah,
Beautiful.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
The more
yeah.
you sweat
So
in peace, the less you bleed in war.
bleed
Absolutely.
in war.
And
Yeah.
and now let me tell you one more thing, which is something which I don't think many people in the corporate would even imagine. Let's say there's suddenly that something happens and you have to go on leave, and you fill up a small form called casual leave form. And in the casual leave form below, before you say my leave address from to all that, and then you say duties handed over to. What are my pending duties? If I'm going on leave for 4 days, my next 4 days tasks, these are my tasks, and so by name is going to be doing them. And you sign that. You can't even go on leave without saying who will take on your task. So that level of continuity and the level of training your subordinates is so progressively done, and the system has been so instituted that individuals don't matter. The process takes over.
Sure. And therefore great companies have a very proactive. I'll give an example. I'll not name the company. This company went through a terrible downturn on business. And actually, they had earmarked 4 people for AMP program, Advanced Management Program at Harvard Business School in that year. The cost per ticket per head, just the fees is 45 lakhs. Look at I doff my hat to the chairman. Everywhere there was cost cuts. But the chairman said, these are my future stars. I've committed, they've signed up, they've blocked their 8 weeks or 12 weeks. I'm not going to cancel this. Believe me, Brigadier Sushil, he stuck with the plan, and we need such captains in the industry. They said
Yes,
this
yes.
is not an expense. This is not an expense to control. This is an investment for nurturing. And guess what? The 4 guys did go in that recessionary times and trends for the company when EBITDA, top line, bottom line, investments, and return on capital, everything was negative. But a commitment was there. They went, and sure enough, no names, they went on. 2 of them went on to become captains in that same company. 2 of them became captains in a competition. And the chairman said, I've contributed to the industry. What an abundance
Beautiful.
mindset.
This is what I say. I've contributed to the industry. It
Look at
is
that.
not
I
only
mean,
what you contribute to your own company. It is, and people have gone beyond. I have a case
oh,
of
yeah,
Godrej, but I won't talk about it. It may not
right,
be, won't have the
right,
time. But
right.
they went and gave because they didn't have the capacity to produce something beyond
Sure.
a certain limit. And when they got a bid from Israel, they handed it over to their competitor, and the reason was at least we kept the proposal in India. What a
See,
beautiful
because,
thing to
yeah,
think about.
you know
Okay,
why,
so
Brigadier?
from
Yeah,
there, from what you
yeah,
left just now,
sure,
I'm
sure,
getting another idea in my mind or thought in my mind.
sure.
Are organizations confusing leadership training with leadership development? Now, there's a difference between just training. Training is not an event, but we are supposed to train or develop leadership at all levels as a
Yeah.
process we just talked about. So, you and I have both seen organizations conduct 1 day or 2 day interventions and expect transformation. Why does that rarely work?
So let me answer that. It's a great question because there's training and then there is development. The two are chalk and cheese in most companies. Number one, the first point is you begin with an organizational talent gap analysis vis-a-vis the org structure that you have right now. More importantly, what is your org structure going to be over the next 3 years, given the trajectory where the industry is developing and the economies of scale that are going to manifest itself? As they say, if the pace within the organization is slower than the pace in the industry, you're dead meat. So how can you bump up the pace within the organization vis-a-vis the scape? It'll be nice if you're ahead of the pack. Number one, so the org structure based organizational developmental needs. A. B. You then do a very technical concept I'm talking about called person competencies and position competencies. So when you have a SVP marketing position coming up, or there's a new geography, or a new product segment, or a new completely IP oriented region being developed, what are the competencies given specific to that particular role, context, and job? And therefore, then you map it up with what is your current bench strength, and you can engage some great consultants out there who will evaluate through a variety of psychometrics and various other tests, including assessment center, a 13-day, 12-day assessment center. Then you find out the gap. So a training, as you said, would be, hey, go out there, you worked hard, go to Singapore, go to Malaysia, 2 days, come back. That is training. The development is even the sponsorship of a particular candidate for a program. There is a lot of edifice behind that homework done before you're deputed for a 30-40 lakh program, because there has to be an ROI, and also there's the role to play. The developmental need also is putting him in what's called, and this is very critical, Brigadier, stretch assignment. When he comes back, put him on a stretch assignment to test out the manifestation, the proof of concept of the training input. Number three, give him a different geography. Then he sees the training investment done into it is actually telescoping into a wonderful doctrine and a process called the developmental aspect of the nurturing. This also calls for, remember, progress is never linear. I want to quote this. Progress is never linear. A bad day doesn't make you a low competence guy, and an excellent day doesn't make you invincible or genius. Oh, what's that famous saying? I think, I don't know who said this. If you start measuring a fish by its ability to climb a tree, for the rest of the life, the fish will be depressed. So please have horses for courses. Please have different strokes for different folks. So there is training. You want to just, get exhausted with your budget, because CEO is going to say, hey, you debated so strongly for this budget. How come 50% of budget is still remaining exhausted? So in the last quarter, they start saying that's training, that's ticking the box. That's really the mechanics of it. But the real developmental mindset is, how does it all fit into a very whole value chain, if you will, from talent assessment to person assessment to organizational diagnosis to future industry analysis? How does it all jigsaw puzzle fits into it? Then it becomes training, evolves into a developmental effort. I hope I've answered that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and I agree with you 200%. See, I have a quote, and
Sure.
I say that very often, that training is not an event. It is when you sorry, transformation is not an event. It is a
Uh,
long, evolving, and continuous
Absolutely.
process. It's a
True,
process. When
true.
you understand, it's a process, right? That is very, very important. Now,
Yeah.
I want to tell you here another thing. You're
Go
bringing in
ahead.
so much of pertinent, very, very focused information. I think today I am enjoying this discussion because I'm learning a lot as well. And it's
Also, it's very
reinforcing.
organic. It's very organic, very spontaneous. We didn't discuss, and I really wanted it to be that way. Let
Yeah,
it
yeah,
come
yeah.
out, even if some people feel, oh, we know this, it's all right. But let it be organic and spontaneous, and that's why we are enjoying this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And Pramod, I want to tell you one thing, that in all these 21 years, what I've seen, and sometimes I wonder, यार ये तो एक हमारा process था life का. So
Right.
what if I tell you that I never learned leadership in a classroom ever?
You
I
hit the
was
bullseye. You hit the
I was
bullseye.
10. I was exactly 10 years old, rather 10 years young, because I'm 75 years young now. I
Wow.
was 10 when I went to Scenic School Kapurthala. And my leadership lesson started there. When you have to get up at 6:30, you have to your life worked around clockwork precision.
Yeah.
There was a time for dinner, it would never be late. There's a time for lunch, everything was going by clockwork precision. There
Right.
was a
Right.
routine. Habits got formulated at the age of 10. And then at 15 exact, I was 15 years and few days young when I went to NDA. And NDA just took the toll. Oh, it was we all knew, being from Sainik School, that NDA is going to be tough, but it's tougher than what toughness we had imagined. And if I just heard you say something like stretch assessment, I think that is what it was. You know,
It's very critical.
a
Yes,
lot of people used to leave because, and they used to, the NDA is testing you that are you going to be able
yes,
to take the stress of the army or not. Okay,
yes, yes.
4 years we learned leadership every day, many times a
Wow,
day,
wow.
not in any classroom, but we lived through it. You know, if I was just give you a small example, if we were given a lot of punishments, and those punishments had a lot of meaning, they were not baseless punishments. So a senior
Mm.
says, go around the tree and come back, go from the left and come from the right, I'm going to take only first five people. So people run and go, and the first five he keeps and says, rest of you go again. And then you go again, and again he takes five people, so people have to run faster. And there's one person who comes in the third round. He's panting for breath. He's really breathless. And he says, sir, I want to tell you, sir, that these people are not going around the tree. They're coming midway, and I am going around the tree. He says, very good. Excellent guy. Come here. And he keeps them aside and tells others, no, you don't need to run. We've found a lesson. Guys, never be like this chap. You cannot ever, in a team, a good team member never lets down his team. So he thought he's going to get some brownie points, and he got,
Right,
then he
right.
said, rest of you can leave. I'll tackle this chap separately. And then he was given another set of punishment. The point is, we were learning these things. There are many lessons I teach people, even from in my workshops, about what I learned about the definition of team on the 10th day of my NDA.
You're so right, Brigadier. Yeah,
in
because
50
leadership.
in
Yeah,
50 years now, I have not seen somebody being able to teach. If you say what is a team, I don't think there's a better example than the story which I tell people, where you understood that that instructor told us, I was
true.
complaining about something. It's a very long story. He says,
That's right.
you have joined the army voluntarily, and you joined an organization in which there's nothing called it doesn't work.
Sure,
So he
sure.
says, when you have to capture an enemy post of 10 people called a section, you need 30 people of a platoon to capture it. This is not 30 people, that's a platoon. And what's the difference between 30 people and a platoon? That it is a body of 30 trained, disciplined, and committed people who trust each other. That is a platoon we need. We don't need 30 people by count. You can't say pick up five people here, five people there, and get 30 people together and go.
Yeah.
It would be something like, say, best get some very good cricketers and put them together to play a test match. So,
So
what I'm
yeah.
trying to say is
Mhm.
leadership has to be lived on a day to day basis. And the first time, let me tell you another thing. I got commissioned in 1970 December. And guess, first time I heard of leadership in a classroom was in 1983. You can count the number of years, right? 1983, while doing staff college, the commandant staff college comes and gives a lecture on leadership. First time ever. And he says, all my colonels could have given this talk as well as I can give. But I have come to give it personally because I want everyone to understand the importance of it. And then he gave his leadership principles, which are not given in any book. So this was leadership on the ground, and not leadership learned through books and courses and classroom training. And that's a very
And
important thing.
Brigadier, yeah, and taking segueing from where you left, increasingly corporates are going to be having bang for the buck. There will be, they always talk of ROCE, return on capital employed. That will stretch to the L&D departments. There's got to be a science behind it. There is, look, everyone makes a mistake, but here's the point. First time is a mistake. Second time is a decision. I would like this to be really typed and sent out, because first time it's all right. But when you repeat a mistake of a training and development money leaking, it's a leaking bucket. There's so much money, and I think uh, CEOs and CFOs will hold, if not are already holding, the CHR and the L&D head accountable for a leaking bucket. Of course, for that, the strategic business unit heads, the line managers, will have to throw in their hat and take equal role as stakeholder. They cannot delegate learning and development to the L&D unit. In fact, they have to partner with the L&D head and make it a business proposition. And let me tell you, the guy who's going to ensure this is a very smart CEO. He will not discard L&D. He will not take bullshit of numbers of training budget. And most importantly, parallelly, he's going to pull up his line managers to bring in the revenues, saying, here is a facilitative tool and a department. How come you're not leveraging that to achieve organizational objectives? And therefore, it's got to be
Wonderful.
a composite effort. There's this black and white Nazi movie called The Dirty Dozen. Every CEO has to have a dirty dozen. Please go and watch it, viewers. It's a black and how 12 domain experts, one a lasso, one a tree climber, one a shooter, one a knifer, all of them combine. And most important, Brigadier Sushil, when this team comes up, what do you think is the number one imperative? Dissolve your egos. And the
I
best
remember
example,
I remember seeing this movie 50 plus years ago.
there you go,
And
there you go.
oh my God, it has impacted a lot of things that I do in my life came from
Yes.
that movie. Yeah.
And the best example of this is Formula One pit stop clearance. You know, the last record is hold your breath, 4.5 seconds. 4.5 seconds. Go and watch it on the video on YouTube. Schumacher or Hamilton or whoever they come in, their windshield is changed, the tires are changed, the oil is changed, all within 4.5 seconds. A fraction of 1/100th of a second there, the competitor wins $100 million and you rest behind. Can you imagine the
Absolutely.
single lesson when 21 people gather around that car? The single most operative dimension is absolute and unambiguous absence of ego and territorial impulse. So absence of territorial impulse and ego is basic requirement for a good leadership intervention for organizational transformation. And Army is
Absolutely.
a
So
great
both-
example. The Kargil
Yeah.
Wars, I mean, you guys, Brigadier Social, hats off to you. I mean, the terrain you operate in. Most important, can I say this? The
Yeah.
biggest differentiator between, and I'm not saying this because you're an ex-Army battalion person. I'm saying this because it's the truth. The stakes that you are protecting, oh my God, it's country. It's not a quarter and quarter, 30% growth in bottom line. It's not territorial expansion of another 5 cities. It is country's freedom at stake. When you map the stakes that's involved for an army leader, hats off, you play a great game. And because you guys out there at the borders with your valor and courage are there, we sleep well at night in our bedrooms. So I doff my hat to entire battalion and all the people of all the three defense forces. And you guys really show great leadership. Hats off.
Thank you. So, promote two, three things which I wanted to just harp on.
Yeah,
One is when
yeah,
you talked of this leakage in the bucket, that's exactly the robbery we are talking about, isn't it?
yeah. That's
You
what
know?
it is.
Okay. Second thing is uh, that there are three things I thought, but I think I missed the third one. And the second one is what you mentioned beautifully is that smart CEO who understands where the actual emphasis lies and
Oh,
doesn't get
absolutely.
taken away by or get fooled by statistics on your dashboard. Okay, that is another thing. So now
You,
what we are
yeah.
saying is that if it is, if it has to be a system, let's talk of what is that genuine leadership development ecosystem that should be developed. So we have talked about a lot of ills of it, but now I think we owe to the audience some solutions. And I personally feel that we have to develop a leadership development ecosystem that becomes overall uh, capable of taking care of these follies.
So here's what triggers the thoughts that triggered by your question. Number one, uh, the captain, the CEO, has to be very clear when he says in an AGM or an annual general body meeting, people are my greatest assets. He should walk the talk. and not at the drop of a hat or on a panic syndrome, sack 10,000, 12,000, 13,000 people, then what kind of manpower planning you did anyway in the first place? So, first up, the person has to have a conviction that, yes, I've got great ERP, I've got great AI technology, I've got everything, but the engines of growth is being run and fueled by the people around me. So it is just non negotiable that I invest in their growth and development. Number one. Number two, any and oh, there's a comment here. Any and every uh, uh, Bruce, I mean, this part is big. Okay. Uh, any and every intervention, any and every intervention has to be aligned to the business growth on a very metricized manner so that there's no leaking bucket happening. There is no boondoggle happening. Number three, my strategy would be when there is a return of a person from a training program, how do you test out the learnability? And should there be a gap in his application, maybe he should be rethought for the next program to be sent or not. And how do you do that is a quick stretch assignment, a quick change in geography, or quick change in product line or an SBU, so that if he has to be groomed for the next position, he has to be coming in complete preparedness in terms of investing in results. Because social, the leadership number one metric is results. No results, no leadership. Yes, there is, you're a nice, eloquent person, you're a charming guy, but hey, hold on. Whichever organization, leadership, whether it's a country or a corporate, show results. And results is the manifestation of leadership. Everything goes behind it. So if you're not manifesting that to results, it's not really working out. Most important, the second most important part is how do you get the right person at the right time in the right job for the right compensation? Any mismatch here or delta here is going to leak your bucket of training and development. I'm now very focusing to L&D being robbed. I'm not going into, because we can talk till the cows come home about all this subject. So these are some of the very, very imperative systems that you need to plug in. Number four, you got to absorb, have the humility to embrace and absorb the latest happenings in the area of L&D, right? Whether it's coaching, training, on job, offline, online, what you do, the outbound training program. So let there be a composite force. And therefore, if L&D is pegged as a business multiplier, I believe the number one stance is training and development clearly being positioned. In fact, may I suggest something very radical? Let
Yeah.
the L&D head report to the business CEO. Come on, have the guts. Don't make him on staff function. Let HR report, let L&D report to the business CEO. Then you see what's happening for a seat on the table.
You
Either
know,
the
just,
L&D,
just a minute, just a
yeah,
minute.
yeah,
I've come
yeah,
across
yeah,
one
yeah.
or two companies and a couple of years back where they had an L&D person with every business unit, and the HR was was doing a staff function. So there,
Exactly.
this L&D manager was reporting to that business unit and was responsible for the training of that business unit according to the requirement of this business unit head. That is
There's an
probably the
anchoring
best
there.
way.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
yeah.
And I was
Something
just
to
one
say,
quick
but I
point.
think
Yeah, I was just going through this beautiful MIT report on AI and leadership, and one of the things the professor there talks about is a new concept called interoceptive, moving from perceptive to interoceptive. Because quoting the person, I'm actually saying a person is not just above the neck, which is just the brains. There's a whole body. There's a whole neuro-linguistic programming at play,
okay.
right?
Just
There's
wait, just
emotion,
wait, just
and
wait, just
therefore,
wait, just wait. We are coming to AI
how
and
are we
all.
doing on time? How are we
No,
doing
no,
on
we
time?
we
And
are now a little short of time.
oh,
So no, no, we'll have to do a little bit of fast work here. But you know what? There are a lot of remarks which I couldn't see earlier because I was so engrossed in the conversation that was going on. So we need to have a little look at this also before we go.
why don't we
So
do that?
yes, first
Let's
I
take
want
some
you to
points.
answer
Yes.
this, Shah. Yeah.
Hmm. The true author of this quote is William Bruce Cameron. The quote is part of his book, Informal Psychology. Mr. Neeraj Chaudhary, thank you so much. Truly appreciate your contribution. We stand corrected if this is true, but all over, whether it's Google or wherever, you read this quote attributed to Albert Einstein. Maybe you're right, and we thank you for it.
Okay. Now there are some other ones who said, okay, okay,
Okay, valid
just
question.
slow
There's a
down.
pattern.
Humble
Just slow down.
request. Okay.
We appreciate
Okay.
Ajay. Thank you so much. Yeah, we get sort of carried on in the flow, and thank you. Wonderful. A person can only be called a leader when she created one. Awesome.
Acha,
And
just here,
therefore
there
the whole,
was something
yeah,
that you had said that a leader is basically one thing that you have to do is produce results. So,
oh,
this one
absolutely.
little catchy line in the army, we were told, right, as again, something from NDA days, a leader has only one job to do, accomplishment of mission at all costs, period.
That's it. Well, that's
Five,
results.
6 words, and that is who's a leader or what is a leader's main job to accomplish the mission at all costs. Baat khatam. Because in the army there are no runners up. Either you won or you lost. There's nothing in
Lovely.
between. So you
Beautiful.
can't say, in the corporate you can say, oh, I got
Yeah.
70% results, I'm happy. But here it's never 70, it's either 100. You can't say I captured the objective 70%. You can't do that. Okay.
It's
And your
it's binary.
mistakes,
The word is binary. Absolutely.
yeah.
Zero
And
one.
the words and the mistakes that happen are not tolerable, are not acceptable. If you make a mistake in your judgment in the corporate world and you don't achieve your results this quarter, you'll do it next
Sure.
quarter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah,
make
yeah,
up for
yeah,
it,
yeah.
you know.
That
But
is
you
life and death.
create,
Period. Yes.
but
Yes.
when we create a war widow, she becomes a
Oh.
widow for the life. There's no coming back.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
our mistakes come back in body bags. So
Awesome.
you can't, so
What a
you,
telling commentary. Very
yeah.
graphic. Very graphic. And we in the civil world, corporate world, got to learn a lot from this. Any other comments you want to take and respond? How do
Yeah,
we
there
as
is one or
leaders
two
set a
more.
baseline?
But here I also say that lots of times, I come across people saying when I talk about battlefield to boardroom, why should we learn from the army? We have nothing to do. Army has a different role. We have a different role. You are profit oriented. We are profit oriented. You are mission oriented. So I always tell people that military leadership is the mother of all leaderships. Why? No other leader has the responsibility to take its people into areas of tough terrain, tough weather, and also take them into operations where you may even risk the loss of your limb or life.
Oh,
No
absolutely.
other leader does
Absolutely.
that. And if you go by what John C. Maxwell said, that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. If you can influence a guy to go with you, and like you're talking about
Give your
Kargil,
life. Oh my God.
you're
Yes.
taking you're see people are seeing that in your climbing up the hill, you don't even need that chap to fire at you, even if he keeps rolling down boulders,
Wow.
even that is to give, and you're still climbing up knowing that there's a very good chance of any boulder coming on your head.
Ooh.
So when a leader is like Vikram Batra and party, young leaders, I'm not talking about CEOs and all, they are taking you along. They're taking you along, and their inspiration is making you good and not even care about your life. Now there's no army commander coming here. That is what I say, that leadership at all levels. This leader is going to make a difference more than any army commander sitting in the army
True,
in
true,
his
true.
command headquarters is going to make.
Brigadier, there's a question from Ajay about Ajay Gabli. How do we as leaders set a baseline for our talent before we elevate? Should we take this up now or you want to take up a little later?
Yeah, please, yeah, let's take it up. Yeah.
I'll just take a very quick and a crisp answer. So, Ajay, great question. Um, Remember, the biggest correctional agent and a person who nudges you is the market. So, what I would recommend is benchmark your current trajectory and your structure and your talent pipeline vis a vis A, where the market is today, and whether you're in a lead lag position. B, 2 or 3 years from now, what's the extrapolation looking at? And once you get that, if it's a 30% quarter on quarter or year on year growth, how does that translate into change in the talent set of people, right? Whether it is AI, whether it is agentic, whether it is more on the people front. Once you get that, then you do a gap analysis, which will help you figure out, wait a minute, I'm here today, I need to get there. So what is this delta going to be? Also, is it more like a horizontal curve or it's a steep curve? If it's a steep curve means high stakes, short time, and very, very dangerous headwinds coming your way. If it's a steep learning curve. Accordingly, you position your L&D and your tech and your HR in such a way that you base your talent pipeline bumping it up. So what was best yesterday has today become good or below average because the scale just moved up. So your first job is to be alert with the industry and the market that you operate in. Benchmark, it may hurt you, but be courageous enough to do that. Benchmark yourself and then quickly put in place the growth engines to ensure that your as leader, your talent is always ahead of the curve. Remember, your talent pipeline has got to be ahead of the curve. Even if your on par is good enough, ideally it should be ahead of the curve. Then you got some semblance of a process or a mechanism where you're setting the baseline of talent development in your organization. Hopefully this answers Ajay.
Very, I think very beautifully brought in, and I'm sure Ajay, do give us a little indication of
Yeah,
whether this answers your question or not. Okay, then we've got. Okay, thank you, Priya. I'm happy that you are here. Good to see you. I
thank you,
think
Priya.
Ajay has something else to say also. Okay, that's for okay. Thanks for leading this debate gracefully and delivering. Value leakage prevention is a teachable trait. Leadership is not versus okay, I versus they.
All
Absolutely,
right,
absolutely, I agree with you
sure.
totally. And also there was something. Let me just say, Ajay said something which I just wanted to commend him on, but I am now forgetting that. Okay,
It's all right.
I think we
Any
missed
other
the
we'll come
opportunity.
back, Ajay. But great questions. Thank you.
Okay,
We'll be in
so I
touch on
think that's
LinkedIn.
that's all that I've seen so far. But if there are any
Okay.
more questions, keep them coming. I think this was the best part of this program, that we are seeing a lot of
It's very
participation by
interactive.
people, and that
Yes.
is very, very important. Uh, एक second, what is this? Okay, this we have already covered. Okay, thank you so much. Now let's continue. So, Pramod, we were coming to that question of that today you can't be having a discussion on leadership without a mention of AI, and we won't take too much of
Yes.
time on that, but very, very
Yeah.
briefly, because we got one more thing to discuss before we end up. I would like you to tell me exact what is that one. If there was only one thing that we should tell or be focused on about AI, what should that be for leaders?
Beautiful. And I'm going to be shocking some people. If there's one thing which all of us have to be aware of and take cognizance of is what AI cannot do. It's a very disturbing thought. I'll tell you why. AI is a manifestation of this wonderful concept called um, persuasion bombing technique. AI doesn't have intent. Remember, guys, AI doesn't have intent. It doesn't have a personality. It doesn't take a stand. Try this experiment. Say something, then AI will give you a response on a chat GPT. And just try and say, I don't think so. ChatGPT will say, oh, yeah, maybe you're right. It doesn't take a stand. Whether it is programmed that way to be agnostic, politics agnostic, or an opinion agnostic, I don't know. The people who sort of write the algorithms, but it doesn't have a personality. A. B. Please do not abdicate your personal power and authority to AI. Believe you me, I'm an aggressive user of AI. But can I leave you guys with a thought? Let AI be a great servant. Do not make AI your master. You are the master. You have a
I was
value.
just I was just typing this for you because before you said it, I was just typing this banner because I went for a TEDx talk and there was another gentleman who was an AI expert talking. He is another speaker, and in his 20 minutes talk, he started his presentation by that AI can be a wonderful servant, but
And that's all it should be.
a
I've
dangerous
not seen
master.
this TED talk. This was my original thought, which I came
I know,
spontaneously.
but it says
Yeah.
a dangerous master. Yeah.
Yes. So the third thing which I want to share with is, which is what the MIT thing I was referring to. There is a new concept called interoceptive, okay, as versus perceptive or being just perceptive. It is about really going deep into your own persona. There are 8.4 billion people, which means there are 8.4 billion fingerprints and personas, each with its own neuroplasticity, with left brain centricity and right brain centricity. Please be, as they say in management and in Bollywood, be honest to the script called YOU. Be very authentic. Authenticity is not a natural thing. It's a great data analytics tool. Claude, Grok, Gemini, hats off. I use them aggressively. But I need your individual stamp of your DNA into any product you deliver. The first time ever I used ChatGPT or an AI to produce my PowerPoint because, hey, Pramod, look, go to PowerPoint, go. I was so disappointed. It gave me fancy graphics, but it didn't have my soul of Pramod, which wanted to say. So I took the data analytics, I reworked on it, putting on it my stamp. So remember, it does not have intentionality, it does not have value system, and it will ask you to give entire authority. The day you do that, you just converted a servant to a master. So please be aware of that and be very interoceptive to ensure that this is not. And the last thing I want to be very, very careful, and this is really triggered just now. You know what is the biggest danger of AI while I'm an aggressive user? The slave mentality. You know, it's called cognitive atrophy. You will be a victim and a patient of cognitive atrophy because your critical thinking skills have just been compromised. You just at the drop of a hat, tick, 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 you go to your mobile or your laptop. Where is your indigenous thinking? God has presented you with creative juices, has given you an individual stamp of DNA of discerning intellect. Please don't sacrifice that at the altar of a great scientific tool called AI. So I'm very forcefully making a business case for saying retain your authority. Don't delegate that. You'll just be a sucker to AI in a very bad way. And the biggest thing, like people suffer from mental disease, you will be. I actually shudder to imagine the current Gen X or Gen Z, if they're not alert and they do not move to the next level, they will in 5 years become a vegetable cerebrally because everything is getting outsourced onto AI. Their own critical thinking is a victim of cognitive atrophy. It's a very dangerous thing, very beautiful word which really captures the collateral damage of AI, but be extremely sensitive and use it purely as a tool. And most important, leadership is about getting, like Brigadier said, is about influencing. You cannot influence only by data. There are people involved, there are emotions involved. Get the values in place, get the shared values, get the thinking patterns synchronizing and becoming congruent. It will not happen only through data. Use that as a big ammunition, but that is not a substitute for your great brand equity, which you carry in your brain and your heart, which is all about your individual. The word for it in Hindi is Wajud or Astitva. Please do not compromise your Wajud and Astitva at the altar of AI, whereas AI will be seductive. It is so seductive. You will be seduced into giving up your own persona. It's a great tool. I'm a great fan of it. I salute people who worked on it. But holy smokes, I hold back when I have to communicate a value, a conviction, a Wajud, and an Astitva. So that's my very balanced perspective. So I would always be saying what AI cannot do, and let me not give up that authority. So that's very important. And today, the biggest disease is trust deficit. Leadership and boards meet, when management committee meet, AI will only help you come to a certain level of clinical data. Be clinical, be granular on the data, but let the values and the guardrails of the organization and your own value systems be guarding and guiding that data points which come through tremendous analysis. So that's my little spiel on what AI is, and it's coming out of my conviction. Great respects for it, but I ain't going to make it my master. My master will be my heart. Spiritual. Let me put this one last point. Brigadier Sushil, real authentic leadership is coming through expanded consciousness, augmented consciousness. Augmented consciousness cannot be augmented through AI. It will be augmented through meditation, through penance, through puja, through bhakti, through shraddha. So dip into your heart. So I've got 5 C's to sum up with my this topic. Get tremendous clarity here between the 6 inches between the ears. For that, definitely use Gemini, Grok, whatever data you want. Absolutely. Get tremendous clarity. What do you do with that clarity? Go and create value for people, for community, build a community. You got to do that. To do that, my third C, you got tremendous courage. And Brigadier Sushil is from Punjab, and in army there's a word called jigra. Jigra is real jigra here, liver or your Jan. That is courage. So clarity, creation, courage. Number four, be very well connected. This is the social intelligence and the emotional intelligence. Never burn bridges. Be excellent with people. You know, yesterday I was listening to Marshall Goldsmith, and he was saying the number one hack I would tell people to be successful is become loving to people. When people love you, they'll come, they'll eat from your palms, they'll give you the business. Let people, it's called LQ, lovability quotient or likability quotient. People should like you for who you are. You cannot be a combination of Grok, Gemini, and all that. Very critical. And lastly, compassion. So I'll repeat to sum up. I've got one more: clarity, creation, courage, connectedness, compassion, all these five with one overriding canopy, that is heart. Let your heart guide your mind and not be vice versa. And therefore, I'm a big proponent of people talk of mindfulness. Great. I've been a great student of mindfulness, but for a change, can you look at heartfulness and soulfulness? Super critical. That will bring about the balance between the left brain and the right brain to give you a phenomenal AI as a tool to bring authentic leadership. That's my feel on and my thoughts and my philosophy and my belief and my conviction on how do I shake hands with AI.
Thank you very much. And I think you went at a super speed because you really wanted to cover a lot in short time. Very good.
Yeah, because
So you covered a lot of things that I wanted to say, and I will not add much to
okay,
it. But I just want to sum up this AI thing by saying that as a leader, you should know what AI can do for you, use it intelligently, where
yes,
magnitude of work is involved, where you want to sum up something, where something that you will take, it's manual job, it's calculation, something like that, or data compilation. If that is going to take 2 weeks or 2 days, and AI can do it for you in 10 minutes, do that, use it. But where judgment is concerned, where decisions are concerned, don't
there you
let
go.
don't let AI take decisions for you. Leaders are making
Absolutely
decisions all the time. Minor decisions, major
wonderful.
decisions. And let your decisions not be influenced by AI. Let the data be taken from AI, but the decisions must be yours. Last week, I have been on a very interesting thing. One of my best experiences of leadership training was when I was asked by a agro company who are manufacturers of seeds, and they are number one in the country. And to do a training program for them, I said, unless I see what they do, then I would be collecting data again from AI and from dashboards and from PPTs and internet. But would I know this if, sorry, where is it? Why is it this not coming? Uh-huh. Sorry, I think I made a mistake. No, just 1 second. What have I done? Okay, just one second. I just want to tell you this. How do I take this up there? No, I can't. Uh, 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 uh. Okay, here, add file, and just
Also, how are we doing on time? And if there are any questions that
No, there
um,
we are a little short. Not little short. We have over, but we'll cut down the last part. Uh, oh, there was something which I wanted to show, but the picture has vanished. Anyway, this
no, no, yeah,
is okay. Okay, if it comes up, I'll show you. But I went to these villages, I met these people. Now, when you go and meet people, could any AI, could any intelligence give me that? So, when I go into a training with them in July, things are going to be so different. They have seen
sure,
me at work, I have gone and met them. So, the emotions, the judgment, and gathering that data on ground, no AI could have done. But I used AI,
yeah,
like what you said. So when I was dealing, I was literally talking to them and all. I had my audio on. I took videos. I fed them to AI to collect all the information and give me something which I could have not remembered. Now that is where I used AI, but it could not have been done without that. So this is what I wanted to say. Uh,
great,
I think both there were a couple of more things, but we are, I think, quite late on time.
sure,
So we'll skip
sure,
the last. But my question to you is, and that's the last question, that if you were advising a CEO tomorrow morning on how to stop this great leadership development robbery in their organization, what would be the three top recommendations?
great, wonderful question to sum up. Number one, just ensure that business directives and objectives and strategy uh, rolls down into L&D budget so that there's clear anchorage, there's accountability. Most important is accountability, right? Very clearly. Second, get the right bums on seats. Do not have failed or over the hill line managers occupy L&D. No offense meant. Get true blue L&D professionals who are committed and passionate. And number three would be to my CEO, make every training program and coaching program straight away linked and anchored to business objective, not necessarily numbers. You could well be building up a community of salespeople or taking up a bigger initiative with profit the organization and give it a good branding, but make it very accountable. And okay, one last thing is do not be tight fisted when it comes to investing in the latest technologies and applications of behavioral sciences in the L&D space. These would be my top three and four recommendations. Very categorical, no jargons, bang for the buck.
Very good. And I would end up by saying that all what Pramod has said and all we have been discussing, make this entirely into that holistic ecosystem
Yes,
that you're not doing bit by bit. You have to
correct.
see it is a vehicle that has to be running. Don't forget the gearbox if you're focusing on the engine. So everything
Wonderful.
has to work together because
Wonderful.
the vehicle will move only when the entire vehicle is working, right? Okay.
Fantastic.
A few last minute comments. So these are all gratitude to you and thank you for the five C's again. And then
Welcome,
yes,
Neeraj.
five C's again. And yeah, AI is a great servant and dangerous master, wonderfully said. Okay, that's all with the comments that have come. So we right now are in a position to now close this discussion. And the way it has been going on, I think everyone feels we could have gone on and on. But thank you,
Sure.
Pramod, for sharing your insights and experiences. And what a lovely practical wisdom that has been coming out of you seamlessly, and so beautiful. And thank you to everyone who joined us for this
Yes.
episode of PSP
Yes.
Leadership Podcast.
True.
If this
True.
conversation has given you something to think about, please share it with your colleagues, your HR teams, and your leaders. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep following us on LinkedIn to be actively participating in our future leadership uh, podcasts. Thank you very much,
And
everyone.
yeah,
And
and
I
Dr. Brigadier
and
Bhasin, I allow me to thank you for the opportunity. It's been wonderful. I didn't want to cut in, but I thought you'll just wind up, and I did not want to be left not thanking you. And it was great conversing with you, great trigger questions, and everything was very spontaneous and from the heart. I could have doled out a lot of statistics from Google and numbers. Doesn't make sense today. Knowledge is commoditized, and all of you know it. So I want to speak my heart and soul on the edifice of practical wisdom. So thank you,
Thank
Brigadier
you
Sushil.
very much. And all what the two of us have done was not going to be possible without this girl. Come on the camera quickly, Vidita. Vidita has
Yeah,
been working behind the scenes so beautifully, and the
Thank you,
way
sir.
she has operated from behind is so good. And she has
Thank you, sir.
facilitated the two of us to bring this program together. Thank you, Vidita.
Thank you,
thank you,
sir. Thank
thank
you,
you.
sir. Both of you. Thank you, sir.
Jai Hind, everyone,
Jai
and
Hind,
Jai
and
Hind.
all the best.
see you next Wednesday. We got another one coming up with a gentleman called Bhadresh Dani. Is that next Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
Next Wednesday, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Brigadier. God bless
Thank you.
everybody.